Hello friend and welcome to the Slowest Sim Driving channel on YouTube, or if you're new around here, welcome. Today we've got the Sony PlayStation DualSense Edge right here to review. I'm going to be taking it out of the box, playing around with it, giving you my first impressions, showing off some of its features. So let's get to it. First of all, a couple of things I want to say. I did an unboxing on this and then OBS crashed and I lost the recording, so sorry about that. This is something I paid for with my own money. Nobody's sponsoring this video apart from my channel sponsor Button Bashers for PCs, consoles, games and accessories. Thank you very much. There's a link in the description down below for them. Let's crack on with it. So in the box we get this nice two-tone thingamajig. This is a hard case. We've got the PlayStation logo on the front. Turn it over. We've also got on the other side, you can't see, which is white on white. It's so hard to film. But we've got the triangle, circle, cross and square. Let's take a look inside, see what we've got to play around with. We've got some branded tabs here to pull on. Also got a clip at the top. You're going to put it on your belt or your bag, whatever. Okay, here we go. What do you think? Got ourselves a braided cable here. I think this is about 2 meters, maybe 3 meters. It's a very long cable. We've got extra thumb caps here, triggers. This is a mount for the cable, which we'll get to in a little while. First of all, let's get the controller out and take a look at that. It's nice. Here's the original, the release day controller. They're about the same weight. I think the Edge is just a little bit heavier. Obviously some aesthetic differences. We've got a different color D-pad, different color buttons. We've got a different color trackpad. Also the light isn't visible. There's a light strip here. On the original, on the Edge, you can't see the light strip. Then we get some, we get this section here, which we'll get to in a second, which is glossy rather than matte. At the top, it looks very different around the charger area, but apart from that, no real difference. The major difference with these controllers is around the back. So here's the back of the original DualSense. As you can see, it's the back of the DualSense. That's all it is. Now, if we go around the back of the Edge, well, we've got a lot going on here. So we've got these switches here, which can be used to change the throw of the triggers, which we'll get to. These are for the rear trigger mounts here. We have a release button here, which we'll get to now. Just out of the way. Okay, so by using the release button, where is it? There it is. If I can get my finger in there. Take off this here. Move that to one side. That gives us access to the triggers themselves. We've got some levers here. And this allows us to take out our thumb grips. I don't know, I'm unsure about this. Is this Sony's way of saying, here you go, you can replace these when they run out because the controller is so expensive? Or is the controller expensive because you can replace these? And of course, is this their way of saying, actually, these thumb grips are going to kind of run out? But you know, I've been down to Button Bashers and I've seen them work with laser potentiometers down there on their controllers. And you know, that's much better because you can just, if you get in a drift, you can recalibrate them. This seems like it's the old guard technology. I'll put that back on there. These buttons down here, these are for setting up your custom functions, remapping your buttons and such like. So these switches on the back for changing your throw. This is a standard throw. This goes all the way, and this is for if you're, say, playing a racing game or some other game which requires extreme precision. Knock it down to the middle, about 50% now, so any game where you need to go from minimum to maximum quite quickly but still want some of that analog juiciness. And then all the way down at the bottom, a simple click. This is for your shooters, for example. We've seen these before on the channel, but never with 3 stages before. Only normally seen them with 2 stages. So that's cool. We've got options around the back. We've got these little buttons here. Okay, these are metal and they seem to be magnetic. They just drop in there. So there we go. Some extra buttons at the back. They feel kind of good. Got a nice click to them. They feel a little bit stubby though. Let's check out the other ones. There is a groove in here, so you can't put these in the wrong way and get them stuck. Once they're in the right position, they will locate themselves. That's not as clicky, and I like that better because it just feels better that the throw is shorter. I don't think the throw is really shorter, but that's just how it feels. Okay, let's get it plugged in. Let's have a play. Okay, so we've got this little connector here, which opens up. We can put our USB cable in here. It just in there like that. I'm going to close it up. Just either side of the input there, you can see we've got a couple of holes. This has some little nodules that come out when you lock it, hold it in position. So in we go. lock, and yeah, that's not going anywhere. Nice. On to the fun bit. My initial thoughts are mostly positive. The buttons have a very tactile feel to them. They have a good solid click. Same with the D-pad, it feels very solid. The entire controller is very sturdy, which I'm very pleased about. It's got a good feel to it. It feels like if you throw it in a rage, your TV is going to come off a lot worse than your controller will. While riding down the highway here, I can feel every bit of engine vibration. Every rev is transmitted very subtly, and the motors themselves on the controller are very quiet, much quieter than the DualSense. So this is going to add to immersion. The lock, the controller, if you're playing with it plugged in, as I am, it was the first play, so it wasn't fully charged. There was no issue of the wire coming out, but also because we've got that lock, the wire wasn't pulling across my fingers. It wasn't getting in the way of the triggers. It wasn't irritating the back of my hand. The wire was well away from the controller itself. The thumbsticks feel strong and have a good level of resistance to them, so they don't feel cheap. They don't feel like you're going to make overcorrections easily. The touchpad is quick and responsive. The clicky triggers at the back are okay. I didn't use them much. I had to assign to L3 and R3 because I'd rather use a switch than press down a stick and, you know, risk suddenly moving or looking in the wrong direction. The PS5 has its unique adaptive trigger system, and that is really where this controller is the strongest. The adaptive triggers on the DualSense Edge are so much quieter and yet somehow stronger than those on the regular DualSense. All in all, I had a feeling of being connected far better to the game and to the game world than I had previously. Could it be that this controller is so good that I can win the podium car today in the casino? Come on. Come on. Come on. Yes! No. Setup was quite easy. I plugged in the controller. I was guided through the firmware update. And there's also a quick tutorial on how to set up profiles. You can do all sorts now. There's dead zone controls. You've got the thumbstick movement type. It's really good. It's very intuitive. There's a little tutorial on how to switch profiles using the function buttons. You can even switch on the fly. So if you're playing a game where, such as I was playing GTA 5, you're driving and you're walking, you can actually have separate profiles for each mode, which you can just switch by just holding the function button down and then pressing whichever button you've got it assigned to, and it will change the entire profile as you set it up. Is there anything I don't like about this controller? Well, I'm not into glossy controllers, and this bit here is glossy. However, the touchpad itself isn't glossy. So I think that actually it balances out nicely. Aesthetically speaking, I don't think that's going to be an issue. These triggers on the back, as you can see, they're in fairly well, but when they're out, they're out. As soon as they've lost their catch, they're going to fall out. So I think that could have perhaps done with a better system. They're not so fiddly to get in, but particularly the smaller ones as well, I think they're going to be quite easy to lose. The extra thumb caps are okay. They have different heights on them. But ultimately, I can't see myself using these because, you know, muscle memory and all that. I suppose they're a nice addition. As well as those, the case itself is a nice addition. It feels hard. It's rugged. In the event of a drop, this is definitely going to protect your controller. And it is an expensive investment, so you're going to want it protecting. I think the biggest downer with this controller is its price. Being priced at over £200, this is a major investment for any gaming setup. A nice design with this. We've actually got this raised section here, and this part of your controller will balance on that. These parts will hold bottom grips, and one of the nice things about that is that if you've got these triggers on the back, it is still going to sit there without actually pressing the triggers in. You can have some sort of lift, which is good. Something else we should probably talk about actually is the texture, because although this is textured very similarly to a DualSense, inside here it feels like a different material. I don't think it is a different material, it just feels different. It's differently textured. And that is going to give you extra grip with these fingers. I feel like that extra grip might end up making this controller a little dirty, but yeah, this is going to start to look dirty after a while. It would be nice if they give you a cleaning kit with it as well, but never mind. As you know, I don't give arbitrary scores or ratings on this channel. I just say, who is this for? So who is this for? It's for a serious gamer. It really is. It's a big investment. It's for an adult or an older teen. It's not going to make you the most amazing player in the world overnight. It's definitely a good controller if you're looking for added immersion, maybe immersion in a roleplay game or a horror game, for example, in the same way you would buy a sim racing wheel to get extra immersion in a racing game. Everything about this controller screams quality, and it's the kind of quality you hope for from Sony. Is it worth the £210 markup? Honestly, I don't know. You know, it's about what you've got available to you. Would I use it? It's probably not going to be my number one controller, the PlayStation, simply because it's so expensive. I would get it out when I knew I was going to get extra immersion, probably test it with different games, see which games make best use of its features, and then just use it for those games. My one last point with this, as a arthritis sufferer, and I would like to start adding these in the videos, this is very comfortable, very comfortable. It just sits perfectly in the hand, but it's the same way the regular DualSense does. It's just really well designed. You've got grips on the triggers. It's very, very comfortable, very easy to use, and I think it's not going to cause many problems for people who have the same issue as me. So there it is, the Sony PlayStation DualSense Edge controller for PlayStation 5, and of course for PC if you're so inclined. That's my opinion on it. What's yours? Have you got one? Are you going to share your stories of if you love it or hate it? If you're going to get one, if you're going to avoid it? Hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Till next time, I want to say a big thank you to our Patreon patrons who make videos like this possible, and to Discord who, for some reason, put up with me. Until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to those around you. Bye-bye for now.